Hi there. In this video I'll be showing you how to make a 7-strand wire musky leader. To make the leader you're going to need 4 materials. You're going to need the 7-strand wire. You're going to need a swivel. In this case I have a ball bearing swivel. You're going to need a snap that's going to connect your lure to the leader. And you're going to need leader sleeves. Just one quick note on leader sleeves before I go any farther. You want to make sure you select the right size leader sleeve. So in this case I have 0.055 inches that matches with the 90-pound Surf Strand Micro Supreme from American Fishing Wire. And you can they match those and provide those recommendations on the American Fishing Wire website. Okay, now that I've covered materials, I'm going to be using 2 tools. I'm going to be using a hand crimper, which is very easy to use, and I'm going to be using a mini bolt cutter, or commonly known to fishermen as a hook cutter. Okay, now that I've covered the materials and the tools, we'll do this in 3 easy steps. The first step will be to prepare the material. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw out my strand of wire that I want to use. I like to use 8 to 10 inch leader lengths. So once I draw that out, I can use the side cutters here on my crimping tool just to cut that to the size that I want. There we go. There I have my wire and it's ready to go. And the next thing I want to do to prepare my materials is I'm going to cut the lower ring off this ball bearing swivel, and I'll explain why. So using these cutters, so you have to make 2 cuts. One, just 2 spots on the ring, fairly easy. That comes off, and what that does is you'll see when the leader goes together, it reduces the amount of space and the connections on the leader, so you have more positive feedback when you hook a fish. Okay, so now that our materials are prepared, I'll go ahead and put the leader together. So we take the Surf Strand 7-strand wire leader, feed it through the bottom end of the barrel swivel where you've cut the ring, where the ring used to go. You can slide on your first leader sleeve, and that just goes on. You don't have to be too fussed about where it is for right now. And then you want to feed through the second, like this, and draw it through. Now, one note here: you want to be able to pull it down so you have a small enough of a loop that you're not making too much of a loop that you get too much play, but not so small that the barrel swivel can't move at all. So like this. And you'll also note the tag end of the wires just peeking out there by, I'll call it less than a millimeter. And once you have it in the correct position, just like that, use the hand crimper. And in this case, I'm using the smallest crimp for this size. And you have to be careful to put the crimper where it clamps down on the leader sleeve, right in the center. So it clamps it down perfectly. And in this case, I've got it, so I crimp that down as far as it'll go. There we go, that's crimped. Flipping over to the other side, and in this step, we put on the leader sleeve first. So I'm just sliding that on there. Next thing, the stay lock snap. That goes on pretty easy, just like that. There we go. Again, feed the tag end back through the leader sleeve. And again, you want it so the tag end's just peeking through by like a millimeter, not so much it's going to get caught on your line, but just enough that it's all the way through. Okay. And again, you leave a small loop at the end, just enough for that snap to move around so it's not fixed, but not so much that there's too much play. And once you have it the way you want it, again, you just crimp the leader sleeve, in this case, using the smallest hole. And again, I'm putting it right in the middle of that leader sleeve, so I'm crimping the center. So not the edge, but the center. And I hold that down and crimp it. There we go. And there's our 7-strand wire musky leader. And you can see in this case where I did cut the ring and the leader goes directly through the swivel, I've just reduced the play in the system here. If I had the additional ring on there, you'd see there'd be a loop to a ring, would give a lot more sort of play, but in this case, you just have less play in the connections. And using the 7-strand wire, the advantage is it's a little thicker, maybe a little more visible. I don't think it makes that much of a difference, but it's definitely bendable, and it's going to go back, and you're not going to damage it unless you crimp it really hard. Okay. Oh, one final thing, just for those of you who do like to use the welded rings, I have done the same thing here with a welded ring. You can see in the welded ring, for those that don't use them, you just attach that to your lure using a split ring for those people that like them. And you can make these any length. Some people use them for trolling leaders. I just use them for sort of my heavy rubber leaders because I find that they work better than fluorocarbon. Okay, there you go. The 7-strand wire musky leader.